Okay, welcome back to the Monday Musings. What I want to talk about today is building strong foundations in your magical practice, and there are lots and lots of very good reasons for doing this, and what I keep finding happening over and over again, which is a bit of a difficult thing. But let me just do the little thingy here, and we'll get into it. I'm Lee W. Johnson. Don't forget to subscribe or get more on Patreon. Okay, so building strong foundations. Now, this is something, if you speak to anybody who has been practicing magic for a reasonable amount of time, you are going to find they're going to say the first thing you need to do is build your foundations. And there's really a good reason for this, and the simple reason. If you're going to build a house, what do you do first? You build strong foundations, because if you build weak foundations or you have no foundations at all, the house is going to fall over. Okay, and I do find a lot of people are getting this idea that, for a long time actually, but I think more and more because of TikTok and these short form content things, is that people are getting the idea that they can just speak to a demon, or speak to a spirit, or speak to a god or an angel or whatever it is. In some cases, they will do that and they will get a reply, and it probably is just in their own, it's just fantasy that's being created. A lot of times what will happen is they will go through all the processes of, doing the evocation, whether it's in a Solomonic format or whether it's within a format within modern demonology, for instance, where they may be sitting down and chanting the N, and whatever format, whatever technique they're using, and nothing happens. And that's because they don't know how to listen, first of all, and they also don't know how to speak to the spirits. And all of this comes along with building foundations. Now, what do I mean by building foundations? Really simply starting at the very beginning and training yourself, going through maybe a year of doing meditations, doing visualization work, doing concentration exercises, learning what a trance state is, how to get into a trance state, the various different methods you can do this, which ones work for you and which ones don't. Actually transforming yourself, kind of actually switching yourself on. Now, when you switch yourself on, you literally switch yourself on. It's like switching the light on the porch. And what happens is you awaken yourself. I hate using that word because it's got a very new age spirituality jargon stuff. So you kind of switch on. You awaken the witch in you. Let's put it that way. All right, and this is when you start doing magic, and this is why we add cleansing and protection work to all of that foundational stuff, because you become something different. There's something that shifts in you. Okay, very hard to explain. You'll know it when you recognize it when it happens. But something shifts in you. You awaken the witch blood, enliven the witch blood, whatever terminology to use. And it's not just other witches and other people who have done this themselves that will start recognizing that, but also astral parasites. They kind of see the light, and it's like a moth to a flame, and they go, "Ooh, new person." And they go and they start attacking this new person, and which is why you do your protection and your foundational work. And this includes protection, includes cleansing work, and it also includes discernment. How to discern if you are interacting with a spirit. How to discern is it actually the spirit you want to interact with and not an astral parasite. Okay. And if you do all your foundational work properly, you're not going to have any problems at all. You may have a couple bumps here and there, but it's just going to be normal stuff, all right? Normal everyday negativity, picking up the dirt of the day and just doing your cleansing each day just to make sure that you are nice and clean. All right, so this is why we do the foundational work. So, as I said, what happens is people come along, they get this idea from the short content videos and stuff on the internet that they can just sit down and do this stuff without doing any foundational work. And yes, I have that kind of content on my channel, and that's because I'm usually talking to the people who have done the foundational work. And it's very difficult to kind of determine or try and let people know with every single video that, you know, it's this level or it's this level, because it's all mishy-mashy, smudgy-wudgy. There's very, very obscure lines. But usually, you know, when I'm talking about magic, I'm usually referring to magic, which is still 101 often, but you know, you have to have done your foundational stuff, unless I'm talking about the foundational stuff, which is completely different. Anyway, yes, so what I was trying to say was, so somebody comes along, they get this idea that they can just sit down and talk to the spirits and get all the things they want in life, because that's what somebody on the internet said, and it's not true. You have to do your foundational work first. If you do not do your foundational work first and you start doing all of this stuff, then some very, very bad things can happen. Magic is not all fluffy roses, fluffy bunnies, and rose petals and rainbows. There are many, many, many thorns, and the fluffy bunnies, usually the killer bunnies from Monty Python. You know, magic is serious. Magic can be very dangerous if it's not done properly. So what often happens is people come along, they do this stuff, and they start talking to spirits, and they end up with some form of spiritual psychosis. All right, it doesn't always happen. Many people are quite lucky in this regard, but it can, and it does. And it's very difficult to work through that. I have spoken to a variety of different people in this particular regard, and some people will say that there's no way of getting over this. There's no solution, there's no cure. Once you've got it, that's it for the rest of your life. So you kind of have to basically stop doing magic altogether. I did speak to a psychologist who did state that it can be kind of reversed or corrected, but it is a long process. It does involve a lot of Jungian, and I'm specifically, I'm going to emphasize Jungian shadow work, not this half of this new age garbage that's being thrown around by everybody on the internet. You know, when it comes to things like shadow work, it's a very serious thing, and it should be done properly, and it is a psychological thing. This is why I do not usually speak about shadow work, because it is very psychological, and I am not a psychologist. All right, yeah. So you know, the opinions do differ, but it's not something you want to go through. It really isn't. Just in case, you know, there is that possibility that you cannot correct it at all. Therefore, you are stuck for the rest of your life with a spiritual psychosis, you know, trying to fight that and combat that, and you can't practice magic again, which is what you wanted to do in the first place. Okay, so rather than risking all of that, do the foundational work. And as I said, even if you don't go through the spiritual psychosis, or that doesn't happen to you, what's probably going to happen to you is absolutely nothing. You are going to sit down, you're going to try and talk to the spirit, you are going to ask them for X, Y, and Z because you are really desperate. And I get that, I understand that. I've been there myself many, many times. I've been in situations where I'm incredibly desperate. But then what happens is you do it and you wait, and there's nothing, absolutely nothing. There's no answer. There's no response. There's no action taken. There's nothing, because you haven't done your foundational work and you don't know how to actually do what you're trying to do. Okay, there's a lot more to it than just saying some words. Okay. And this is why I say do the foundational work. And I know a lot of people, especially people in desperate situations, are not going to want to hear this because they want to solve their situation. But it's better to try and find a different way to solve the problem and start working on that foundational stuff. So if you have a problem in the future, you've now been through all that, you know what to do next time. But try and find some other solution to the problem at this time. It's better to do that than spend months trying to achieve this goal of talking to this person, asking them to give you what you want, and getting nowhere. And then you just put yourself deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into shit. Okay. So, and then that comes around and that goes, well, this magic doesn't work. It's a load of shit. It's a load of garbage, rubbish. And then everybody hates magic. All right. And hates the people who talk about it, like me. we, we get bombarded with, oh, it's all fantasy. It's all in your head and everything else. No, because we've done the stuff. We know what we're doing. All right. Anyway, so that's it for today. And I hope that made some sense. Again, this is one of those topics that can get very personal and very involved, and very in depth. So if you have any particular questions, just ask me, and I'll address them, and we'll continue with the discussion. All right. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers for now. Bye bye.